What shaped my career was poor coaching and then great coaching. I'm Mike Ford, been involved in sport, 40 years. I signed to play rugby league for Wigan in 1982, and I played rugby league for 20 seasons, mainly in the northwest of England, but I also had a couple of spells in Australia. Near the end of my career, the last 3 years of playing, I became a player coach in rugby league. Coaching is always something I wanted to do, and then from there, the last 20 years, I've been coaching in rugby union. I've coached all around the world. I've been fortunate enough to coach in Ireland, France, Germany, the USA, and obviously England. Well, as a player, you play in finals. I think I played in 15 finals, winning 9 of them. So them are always highlights. You know, when you're 21, you look at a 25-year-old or a 26-year-old, you think, how old are they? And then you get to 25, 26, and you think to the 38, the 28, 30-year-olds are Asian. But your career soon passes. I suppose it soon goes, and you don't necessarily think like that until you get to late 20s, and then you have a look at what you've achieved as a player, and you go, oh wow, I've not got many seasons to win trophies and stuff, and that's why you're there. As a coach, I've been involved in 8 finals, if you like. The biggest one was the Rugby World Cup final in Paris in 2007, where I was helping coach in England, and we lost to South Africa 15-6. Quite a controversial game where Mark Cueto scored in the corner. The TMO disallowed it. Been in a few Grand Slam games, and like I said, a final. So probably the highlight for me, Andy, is as a coach. I was 48 until really I got my first head coach's role. And if you think I signed for Wigan when I was 17, it took me 31 years to get there. And looking back, you think to yourself, you wanted it to come earlier, but I wasn't ready earlier. I wasn't ready. I thought I was, like you do, but until you get into the role, you realise the deficiencies and the lack of knowledge you have. So when I was 48, I took over at Bath. I thought I was ready. I've been an attack coach, I've been a defence coach, I've been a skills coach. I've failed, I've had success, but at that particular time I thought I was ready. And in 2015 I got Director of Rugby of the Year, which, coming from a different sport, because I played rugby league and then coaching rugby union, I thought was probably the highlight of my career there. Yeah. A great leader never stops learning and never is arrogant enough to think that you're the bee's knees and you're the best. So I think, to answer your question, is to be made redundant. So the way you interact with your staff, your management team, the way you support them, the way you challenge them, the way you communicate with them, is everything to make you redundant. So the last thing you want as a head coach or a director of rugby is everyone coming to you, the kit man, saying, what colour socks should we play in this weekend, for example. You know, the medical staff asking if a player should be returned to training now. You know, the assistant coach asking you, what's your opinion of which line out? Really, you get to a stage where they're all coming to you with the solutions, and basically, if you've coached them well and managed them well, then you just tick in the box, and then people say, well, what does Mike Ford do? Apart from that, the main one I would say, and it took me a while, this, Andy, is to listen. Is to listen to players, is to listen to your management team and your staff. Everybody in the world wants to be heard. They want their understanding to be voiced, and in the past, when I said I wasn't ready, when somebody was talking to me, I was probably thinking about something else. But the craving to be understood and have empathy with them, where you don't necessarily have to agree with what they're saying, but you demonstrate an understanding that I'm listening to you, I understand where you're coming from. People, if you've got their feelings at heart, you don't necessarily, like I said, have to agree, but if they think they've been heard and understood, then I think you'll get a more committed person in your organisation to create psychological safety for them. Listening is massive. Well, I might be just talking about myself, but yeah, listening and understanding. It's a great question. I think playing in the early 80s and through the 80s and 90s and stuff, you have quite a few mentors as coaches, and the main thing I learned off coaches is what not to do. There were environments where it was very much a tell. It was very much a threatened environment. If you don't play well, you'll get dropped, or I'll sell you, or them sort of things. And people played with fear. And as a player, to get the best out of me, I needed to be coached. I needed to practice during the week what we're going to do at the weekend, and then at the weekend see if we've executed our practice into a game situation. Yes, no, it worked, it didn't work. What do we need to do to improve? All these things, and I just never got that when I was playing rugby league. There's one coach called Darryl van der Velde, who's an Australian from Brisbane. I got to be coached by him for a few years when I was 28, 29, and wow, he opened my mind to coaching. And basically, he wasn't a tell coach. He was an ask coach. He asked us questions. He asked us what we thought. But Darryl was very good. Darryl van der Velde was very good at asking us what we were feeling, what we thought, and he had a great skill of. And it was years later I understood this. Yeah, he had a great skill of getting what he wanted through us, so as though it was our idea. But that's the way he talked to us and communicated with us every single day. So what shaped my career was poor coaching, and then great coaching. So when you become a leader, naturally everybody underneath you wants to ask you questions. They want clarity. They want simplicity of their job roles. And I mentioned earlier that when I became head coach, I didn't trust my assistants. I didn't listen. Therefore, I never got the trust of the assistants underneath me. Thought I knew everything because somebody had put me in that head of that organisation. And the one thing you quickly learn, and I mentioned it, one thing you quickly learn is that you never know everything. and the reason you employ these assistants because they are experts in that field. So to me tell them what to do is crazy, really. But that's what I was doing. That's what I thought I had to do early doors. So employ the right people, employ the experts, let them come to you with a problem, but also the solution that they believe, and you support them and challenge them that way. The other mistake I made was me time. I didn't give enough me time, and I don't just mean me developing. I mean me time with the family. You think you go home after a day's work at the club, and your wife's talking to you, and you're nodding your head, but you're not listening. Because you're thinking about selection, or you're thinking about the training session the next day. I didn't switch off, and I didn't give my family the time that. So the one thing the the next time I'm in a role where I'm the leader, it's important to me, first and foremost, as the family, and I respect the time I have with them. And it's just, that's the case, Andy. For me, it was a case of organising your life, and scheduling life, and being able to understand how to switch off. Get young boys and girls at grassroots levels to fall in love with the game initially, and to play, and to want to play throughout, whether it's amateur, play throughout their lives, whether it's amateur, whatever level they want to get to. I think it's from the RFU down to the Premiership clubs, to the Championship clubs, to the grassroots, is to make the game as safe as possible for everyone. We're part of a community where they want to see an exciting way of rugby, of sportsmanship, and I think whichever decision we all try and make, I know that when you get to the top, it's dog eat dog, certain to speak, but if collectively we can think of ways of making the game more exciting to watch, safe to play, and then obviously more participants and bigger crowds and all them things, I think rugby over the last 10, 20 years has gone up and up and up. The pandemic for everyone's been a challenge, and we've lost participants, we've probably lost spectators as well. The game's probably gone a little bit dire, especially the Lions in South Africa in 2021 was a poor spectacle for everybody and didn't help anybody. So the lawmakers, the guys who are implementing the laws, I think to make it a more safe and exciting game. It's not about you. It's not about you as a leader, but it is about you. What I mean, and I'm talking about myself here, is when I first became a leader, it was all about me. I didn't listen. I didn't trust my lieutenants. I thought I knew everything. I didn't support my staff. I didn't give them clarity. I didn't communicate with them well. I didn't listen. But then it is about you, the way you operate, and the way you talk to your staff and listen to your staff, the way you develop yourself. You never stop learning yourself. And I think, again, for me, there's so much out there that I don't know. There's so much, especially with the mental side, the neuroscience that's coming into sport at the moment, the leadership, which is, Andy, I don't know if you know, is not really touched on in sport to the level that you might think it is. And in that leadership, as a player now, I'm talking about the neuroscience in that, and keeping a cool head, a blue head instead of a red, and the leaders to be able to coach that and develop that. So, yeah, I used to think, I'm going to give an interview here, and what I say is gold dust, and everybody's going to listen to me, and this, that, and the other. But it's not about me at all. But it's about the staff you have underneath you, the purpose you give them, the challenge and support that you give them. But the main thing for me, I think, is listening. It is having empathy with people and understanding their position, and giving them the stand to be heard. What could the business sector learn off us is to be a team, support each other, look after each other's back, be able to challenge each other in the right way, have the tough conversations where it's not me not liking you, it's me having this tough conversation because I want the organisation to do well, and you not taking it as a personal insult or slight on yourself. So like I said to you earlier, there was 40 years I've been involved in sport, and I can count on one hand them organisations where it's team first and nobody gets the credit for it. We all get it together. And can business learn off that? Probably.